How's it going, YouTube? This is Skul, and I know this is a few days late, but welcome to my video game pickups for the month of January 2019. I didn't get that much in January, so it really didn't take me that long to get everything off my shelf and put it here on the table, but I guess I got distracted. I was busy making a really good video, which I hope you guys saw yesterday, but other than that, let's just go ahead and show off what I got, shall we? So, first things first, I got a Nintendo Labo No. 3 vehicle kit. So, the reason I got this is I already had the first two, of course, but Best Buy was doing a sale on these things. Basically, they were half off. And, of course, as you guys probably know, I still have my GCU membership for another few months. I'll talk about that in a second. And so, not only was it half off, but it was also 20% off of the half off. So, after tax, I ended up only paying about 35 bucks for this. And this usually goes for 80. So I think that was a pretty good deal. So now I have this. I'm going to put it right beside my other Labo kits, which I'm never going to use. But I have it. Worth having. So anyway, with GCU, the way that works is the program ended last year, but if you still had your membership, then you have it as long as you were originally going to let it expire anyway. For me, that's April. As long as you're a member, you get 20% off of all video games, new or used. So it doesn't matter, you know, how long it's been on the shelf. If there's a PlayStation 2 game that's been on that shelf since 2007, and you just happen to see it and you pick it up and buy it, you get 20% off of it. Or any brand new game that's on the shelf that hits it that morning, you get 20% off. And you get 20% off for pre-orders as well. So, since my GCU expires in April and there's no way to extend it, I ended up just pre-ordering a ton of video games in January, most of which don't come out even this year. Like, Metroid Prime 4 was in there, for example, and of course we just got the announcement that's been delayed, so there's some crumbs here because my wife was eating probably something really yummy, but a long story short, so I pre-ordered a ton of games that I know I'll be getting, that I'll be playing anyway, pre-ordered them, and getting the 20% discount, and yeah, so there's going to be a lot of games that'll be showing up in the future, and I'll just be like, oh, I forgot I got this. Got Labo. Let's see what other Switch games I got. Let's go through this pile. So I think these top two games I don't remember exactly, but okay, I remember with the Escapist 2. Again, the way Best Buy GCU works is not only do you get 20% off, but you get points for everything you buy in the store, whether it's a video game, or a TV, or a soda from the machine on your way out. Whatever you buy and pay for at checkout, you get points. And once you get enough points, they'll give you a coupon code, discount, whatever, like $5 off your next purchase. So I got a $5 off coupon code. I used it to take $5 off of the Escapist 2, which was a game I was missing. On top of the GCU discount, you see how the sale just gets more and more and more. There's no way they were profiting from that. They were losing money for every GCU customer they had, but took full advantage of it. Picked up the Escapist 2. This I got from Amazon because it had a flash sale go on, and it does look like a kind of game that I think I'd be interested in. NBA 2K Playgrounds, or 2K Playgrounds 2, as a matter of fact. So there was a game that came out last year for the Switch, NBA Playgrounds. I was hoping that would get a physical release. It never did. This is, I believe, a direct sequel to that. And this did get a physical release, so really looking forward to playing this. Looks like a fun game. It even comes with its own little manual, which companies don't do that much anymore, which is really nice. I got that on Amazon as a flash deal. May as well throw this out there, too. I got this as a flash deal on Amazon. Final Fantasy Explorers for the 3DS. I have no idea what it is, or anything about it, but it's a Final Fantasy game, and I'll talk a little more about Final Fantasy later on in the video. Anyway, I also bought 3 retail games, and the stories of how I got these are... oh man, I got stories. So, basically the deal with all 3 of these is the Switch collectors believe that either these are currently rare or they have the potential to become extremely rare in the future. So I figured it was worth me going out and getting just in case, so I wouldn't have to worry about dishing out eBay prices in the future. In one of the cases, it was definitely worth it. The other 2, we'll see in the long term, but regardless, I'm happy to have it now, happy to pay for it now at retail. I'd rather pay for it at retail and see it on the shelf later at a discount price than pay for it retail, or than not pay for it retail and then see it go on eBay in the future for 3 or 4 times the amount. So, the first of these releases that I got was Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures for the Switch. This was made in very limited numbers. It did get a retail release, we think only in Target and maybe 1 or 2 other chains. I looked it up. The closest Target that had it to me was 60 miles away, and that was the only one within 100 miles that had 1 copy. So I called them, reserved it, drove down, picked it up, got it, super happy. The second one I got was Atari Flashback Classics, which is a bunch of games, compilations from their classic consoles like the 5200, the 2800, arcade stuff. I love classic games like this, simple games from back before Mario existed, for example. So not only did I go out and get it because it was rare, but also because I knew I would play it a lot, and it's super fun. Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures, not so fun, but this is totally fun. This was a little better. Again, only released in Targets as far as we know, but it was a lot closer, only about 20 miles away, so I drove and got that. And the third one I got was Katamari Damacy Reroll, and I probably screwed up pronouncing that, sorry. There's probably a lot of you who actually know what this is. This released the same day as Super Smash Bros., so it wasn't a priority for me. My priority was dropping all that money for Smash and the Season Pass and the Pro Controller that came with it and all that stuff. So I put this on the back burner, and then come to find out, not only is it a GameStop exclusive, but GameStop only got 1 shipment, and most of those copies were gone. The day I found a copy of this, it was literally, I mean literally, 100 miles away, and it was the only copy left in my state. I hopped in the car, drove over there, picked it up, drove home, and I was happy, and then the next day GameStop got a restock. So it's not that hard to get anymore if you're really persistent. But when I got it, I made a whole adventure out of it, and that's part of why I love collecting games. I love the story of how I obtained the game, or the story of how this game came about, or, you know, stuff like that. So, and the most important thing is I paid retail for this. Even taking into account no GCU discount for us because it was GameStop. Even if taking into account the gas I paid to get it, I was paying less than the eBay prices. Even now on eBay, it's not that cheap. So if you can find that at a GameStop somewhere, get it. Plus, it's an insanely fun game. Just a bonus. Why is it either the best games or the worst games that get the limited releases? I don't get that. Speaking of limited releases, these are the limited print games that arrived this month. The first one is Layers of Fear Legacy. Technically, this is not, this was sent to me by Limited Run Games. I paid for it as a customer. It wasn't sent to me for free or anything. I have to phrase this really interestingly because they didn't make this game, they didn't distribute this game, they did not publish this game. They were just the only people who sold the game to customers. And you wouldn't know that by looking at this. When I first got this in the mail, I actually forgot it was from Limited Run Games. So I was like, where'd this come from? The only indication that it's from LRG is it's printed on the cartridge itself, and there's a little legal disclaimer on the back. I'm trying to find it here. It's under the warranty. Limited Run Games warrants to the original purchaser of this product shall be free from defects of material, blah, 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 blah. So those are the only indications it's from LRG. It does not have a number on the side. It doesn't even have their logo on the spine. It's just, it's kind of like the other game that they published, Oceanhorn, where they were just the sole people who sold it. So technically it's not a game from them, but got that from them. This was a game from them. Broken Age, which is release number 16 for the Switch. This looks interesting. Haven't played it yet, but it looks cool. And then I got 2 games in this month from Super Rare Games, the publisher from England. So we got Sheridan Binary Stars, which is their 9th release, and we got the Adventure Pals Collector's Edition, and they were really good with sending this one out. I think they shipped this out within a week of me paying for it, which was really nice. Super Rare Games always puts out some of the best content. They're always right on top of their game. Of course, the difference between them and Limited Run Games is Limited Run Games doesn't open pre-order, and they don't order the cartridges until the order's closed, so you won't get the games for a few months. There's still a few games that we purchased like in June, July last year that aren't in our hands yet. Whereas Super Rare Games, they order the carts first, they have them in hand, and then they put them up for sale. So when they put up the Adventure Pals, they had the cartridges ready to ship out. It's just a different system, and it works really good for both, because Limited Run Games is world famous by now. Super Rare Games not as famous, but they still have enough made to satisfy demand, as long as you're on top of things. They're getting a little more famous now. A little more on top of things. I'm going to go ahead and show off my PlayStation 4 games that arrived. So I bought I bought 2 PS4 games. Only one arrived in January, so you'll see the other one in my February pickups. But you can probably guess what the other one was that I bought. My first one, Kingdom Hearts: The Story So Far. Now, I've been wanting to get into Kingdom Hearts for a long time. But every time I ask my friends which one should I play first, I get 100 different answers. What order should I play them? I get 100 different answers. To the best of my knowledge, this is the best compilation of all of the games that you need to play before playing Kingdom Hearts 3. And as long as you just play these in order on the discs, there's more than one. As long as you play them in order, then you should be fine. I don't know much about Kingdom Hearts except the name of Sora, and that there's Disney characters in here, and that there's a few other Square Enix properties in here like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But I really want to get into it. I'm going to have to pour hundreds of hours into this compilation before I can get into Kingdom Hearts 3, but I have it now, so whenever I feel like jumping in, I'm ready. And then there were also 3 other LRG PS4 games that arrived. Again, I stopped buying their PS4 games a while ago. These are just the ones that they finally were able to ship out. Got Everspace Galactic Edition, which is number 104. Bastion, which is number 107. And their second PSVR game, To the Top. And I really wanted to be on top of their PSVR stuff, but unfortunately, when they put out their third game, people took a good look at the spine and saw it said 4th game. And they're like, what happened? And it turns out that one of their non-VR games, like one of these, they submitted to approval for Sony after the orders were done, and Sony retroactively said you have to put 3 on the spine. And I could easily have ordered that because they put out like a few hundred extra copies afterwards to all the people who didn't get it on that. But I decided if there's the chance in the future of that happening again, where I skip out on one of these regular PS4 releases and it retroactively gets certified as PSVR instead, I don't know if I want to get into that, and I especially don't want to support that as a business. I want to know, when you post it on your site, is it VR? Yes, then I buy it. No, then I skip it, and I don't have to play the guessing game with non-VR games. So, I don't even have a VR anyway. I was just getting it because there were... I got the first one because it was the first one. I got the second one because there were only 2, and I was going to get the third one because it would have only been 3, but then there was it turned out that third one was the 4th one, and the third one I missed out on, and I just don't want to get into that. So, yeah. Anyway, so, I got an N64 game this month, Big Mountain 2000. So, remember last month where I showed off all those games I got out of my brother's closet? I saved the ones that held sentimental value to me, and I sold the rest to my local game store, and they gave me enough credit to buy this, and I bought this. This was, I'm not sure why it was in their glass case as one of their more valuable games, but I got it, and now it's in my collection, so that's one less N64 game for me to worry about. And, let's see, I got the disc only for Demolition Racer. So if you've been watching these for a while, you'll remember a few months ago, there was a fan who sent me a ton of old games, but thrown into with some of those games were just cases for games, or discs only without the case. This was one of those, I think this was one of the last, this was the last PS1 game that I got that was the case only without the game, so I picked off the disc from eBay, and it's in amazing condition. There's scratches, but it'll work just fine in my PS2. So, and then I put it in this nice new jewel case so it looks flawless, and there we go. Let me go ahead and show off another one. This is another one of those games that they sent me. MX 2002, just the case, and I picked up the disc as well. This is actually a CD. You know how you can tell? Because it has a blue bottom. PS2 games were usually DVDs because they held more storage, but if it has a blue bottom, that means it's a CD. Fun fact. And this is in great condition, so there we go. There's still one or two more PS2 cases that I have that don't have games for them, but those are expensive. Like, one of them is one of the early Fallout games, so, yeah, not cheap. And then, finally, I got this assortment of games here. Let me put this in order, I guess. So, I told you I'd get back to Final Fantasy, and this is where I'm going to get into that. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII for the very first time in my life. First Final Fantasy game ever, and I'm hooked. And, I just spent all of January playing through it. I'm on Disc 3, I just need to grind before the final boss, and I am in love with that game so much. I'm so emotionally invested in it, probably more than I've been in any video game that I can think of. And it made me realize if I've been missing out on Final Fantasy VII for the last 22 years, what else have I been missing out on? Not just in Final Fantasy, but in gaming overall, because I've been a Nintendo exclusivist up until fairly recently. All these amazing games on other systems that I've been missing out on, I gotta start catching up. And as an impulse purchase, which is completely unusable nowadays, I got the complete collection of Final Fantasy XI for the PlayStation 2. Why is it unusable? Because Final Fantasy XI is online only, and the PlayStation 2 servers closed years ago. So, completely unplayable unless I were to set up my PS2 to connect to a fan server, which is completely possible, but I have no interest in doing that. This is just... I had 10 and 12 already, and 10-2, on the PlayStation 2, so I figured why not just go ahead and get 11 so I can fill it in. 10, 11, and 12 all on my shelf, that'd be great. So I did just that. And the great thing about Final Fantasy XI is, it was an MMO, so that means that you pay for a subscription and you get expansions as they come out. It's not at all like gaming these days, but for people who knew anything about online gaming in the 2000s, or even in the early 2010s, up until fairly recently, you'll know all about this. So, anyway, 4 discs here. We have the base game of Final Fantasy XI, just what you need to get into the server. We have the first expansion, Final Fantasy XI, Treasures of Ahia-Urgon, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. There's probably some Final Fantasy fans here who are just tearing me a new one. Final Fantasy XI, Chains of Promethea. And the final expansion, Final Fantasy XI, Wings of the Goddess. And again, these are completely useless these days, but I just love having them as part of a piece of gaming history, and just... It's so weird to look at my shelf and say, yep, I have every Final Fantasy game on PlayStation 2. I have 10, 10-2, and 12. 11 has to count even if you can't use it, right? At least they made discs for this. It's not like 14 where, well, I guess 14 has discs, but it's not like a lot of online-only games where they never make the discs or stuff like that. So I'm super happy to have picked that up, and that wraps up the games that I got for the month of January 2019. 2019 started off rather strong. Honestly, the one that I'm most proud to have is Katamari Damacy Reroll. Damacy Reroll. Just because of the story that of what I went through to get it. So, totally worth getting it. Let me know what your favorite thing is that I got this month. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next month with my February pickups.